Okay, so wanted to just quickly kind of open up the topic of feeling lonely when you have a stutter, because I think it's a topic that maybe everybody who has a speech impediment experiences, because everybody on earth experiences it. But I think that kind of relating to it and also maybe exacerbated by having a speech impediment or a stutter. I think that for me, it's shown itself when I was younger, feeling shame at school and embarrassment about myself. And then that can be incredibly isolating because shame really separates you from other people and makes you feel badly about yourself. So even if people aren't putting lots of judgments onto you and people don't dislike you, if you've got that internal shame, you'll be perceiving them um, as judging you or somebody not liking you, and also maybe you've got more walls up because you're worried about them judging you. So I think going through school and things like that, you can feel that isolation, and then it can lead to, when you're older, having fears of being introduced to new people, or starting new jobs, or going out to socialize with big groups of new people. As if, yeah, I mean, I've found that definitely in the past with, if I'm introducing myself, being worried about, am I going to stutter when I first meet somebody? But also just feeling like people don't want you there. And I think that's just come from shame about how we see ourselves. And that can definitely develop from when I was younger, um, feeling like it was hard to connect, or like people were judging me that like you can't even speak, and that seems like the most basic thing that you should be able to do. But that's just a very self-critical view of it. Like that was just me judging myself. That wasn't necessarily that people in my life had a big problem with it. If I speak to people, they've just got lots of love and kindness about it, and just like, oh yeah, how did you find that when you were young, and like, did it affect you? How did you stop? And things like that. When I haven't really stopped, it's just, I think people in my life just stop noticing it a lot more because it only comes up occasionally. Oh, I just feel like I've just said a whole load of random things. But yeah, I think that it's kind of a topic that people should maybe discuss more in order to kind of reduce that loneliness and reduce the isolation, um, and also just how they see themselves. Um, yeah, I think that be able to connect with people without it being just over speaking. So if you've got a new colleague or something, instead of going and sitting them with a coffee, be like, do you want to come get lunch? And like walk to a lunch shop or something. And then when you're walking with them, it's a lot easier to speak instead of um a very intense situation where it's just one person across from the other person just sat there. So I think for me, things that help with that are just be doing something while you're out, and also speaking to people in my life about more vulnerable topics has definitely helped me to feel more connected and less alone. So if I'm having a hard time, I'll actually speak to them and say, look, I'm having a really hard time. And I think that that vulnerability really helps to connect you. And also maybe talking about your stutters, your vulnerability, it might help people to be like, lots of people who have told it to have been like, oh, my sister stutters, and yeah, when she was younger it used to be like this, or they'll be they'll have a similar experience in their own life about something like maybe ADHD or something where they've struggled. So I think, yeah, there's a few different things you could do, but I think working on your connection to other people and your self-worth around that is super important. And yeah, um yeah, maybe we can keep talking about